That's LAPD, that's group stalking while I'm witnessing the sunset through my living room window. That is the entity that is stalking in helicopter. This is P.O.C. You can see them. They're amplifying helicopter activity. They're right here. If you can see the screen on my window is what is obstructing. When I zoom in, you're looking at the screen, but there they are right there. Flying in relevant position, flying over my apartment, targeting, you're looking at what is relevant positioning. That's where they're flying in a line, flying in relevant position to me, group stalking, flying over me, just like they were at 1:40 while you saw the light source over me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that was 5 hours ago, and here is the same light source. That's called crossing path. That's group stalking. This is the light source that's setting. This is setting in alignment. I'm in the same apartment where you witnessed the sunrise. It is currently 7:02 p.m. and I took pictures so that you could see what was through closed blinds, the engineered light that's manifesting on this bedroom wall. I'm facing the light source. Let me be clear, the mirror in my apartment is no form for what is the presence of engineered light. As you see engineered light appearing on the tree right here, you're looking at what are all methods of stalking with light. And also, this is the documentation of what is a sunrise and sunset, and this is the pattern of conduct. Okay, so this is me. This is my person right here. This is where the sunrise on the east. The pattern of conduct is that the entity is rising. This is my person. This is the sunrise, and this is the sunset. And this is me inside of my apartment, and that's literally what you witnessed today. The sunrise at 7:30. I captured video. It is 7 p.m. 7:02. Specifically, it is 7:03 p.m. and that's the sunset. That's the pattern of conduct. This is the ongoing criminal surveillance by the state, engaging in ongoing obsessive group stalking by helicopter flying over. This is where the entity is stalking. This is the same entity heavily stalking for a term of years. Let me be clear. The San Bernardino Superior Court, the entity is group stalking while the light source is over my head at 12:47 in the afternoon, while I am at 245 Arrowhead Avenue at the San Bernardino Superior Court, where I am documenting what is an ongoing phenomenon which I became aware of while the entity was also harassing me, following me around in helicopters. And that is the maintenance of this light source, which I knew then was not possibly the natural environment, not possibly the sun, because everywhere that I go, no matter where I go, no matter how long I go, no matter what direction I go to get there, the light source is remaining in its zenith over my head, which is how you are understanding what is never going to be the sunrise or the sunset. This is the demonic imitation of the natural environment. So let's go over again what we witnessed this morning as I am documenting the same criminal system that the state of California is engaging in to date in concert with the people of the state. That is, by the way, the people of the state acting via, I'm looking for the video I captured this morning. The people of the state acting via spectrum.
For purposes of prosecution, literally by your address, where there is no
obstruction of justice. My Wi-Fi is not working. While the entity is threatening my life, engaging in what is criminally monitoring, and doing so in the specific environment, I need you to understand what is the ongoing threat to your life. The entity has engaged in a pattern of kidnapping me. These demon-possessed group stalkers that are stalking in helicopters, engaging in what is kidnapping, where the entity is engaged in surveillance with the people of the state. These demons that are group stalking, summoning the entity on you, making up information about you, and together criminally defaming you while they are monitoring and harassing and terrorizing you. These demons that are stalking in helicopters, making up and abusing the resources that legitimate law enforcement agencies have at their disposal, which is the reference to warrants. This entity that has, first of all, no legitimacy because they're engaged in the criminal system of surveillance. Also, with regard to what is literally making up information and what is a non-existent criminal case, they made up the name of a DA that does not exist, that is not on the California bar. They literally engaged in an illegal arrest where there was no probable cause, not only because they were literally stalking, and I was documenting it, but also because there was no legal arrest. So there was no commission of any crime. And by the way, you're always going to be the criminal. But I just want to be clear, there weren't even any facts, and I'm referencing January 13, 2020, where Jason Knighton and L. Keys engaged in kidnapping. That's the same entity that is group stalking to date. The Ontario Police Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, the same exact entity. By the way, while I'm documenting the group stalking by that entity, the Ontario Police Department. The entity was stalking an airplane, which is what I captured in a matter of seconds. Crossing path, group stalking by commercial airline plane. I'm capturing images of what are the Ontario police stalking in the path using their police vehicles in the engineered environment, the same environment where your shadow is surrounding yourself. It looks like there's a gang standing around you, but there's not. It's just your shadow that's surrounding you. That's impossible light activity. And all these demons live in that environment for purposes of ongoing surveillance. This is where you saw light appearing on my ceiling this morning. This is that same light. This is impossible light activity. The entity is a group stalking in that environment via helicopter, the same entity that engages in what is making up information, creating warrants that do not actually exist, in reference to court cases that do not actually exist, where there is not even any legal basis for them to exercise any jurisdiction over you because they are engaged in state surveillance, where you are also documenting the maintenance of that specific environment while that courthouse is engaged in the same group stalking system in concert with the people of the state, while they are masquerading as legitimate judges and attorneys with the Department of, defenders' offices and district attorneys' offices. And I'm referencing the absence of any sun that's going to be over the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 10:29 a.m. and 9:42 in the morning, when the entity is maintaining what is the sunrise. The duration of the day, you're talking about 1:42 p.m. It was over my apartment building, and you're talking about what is 7:07 p.m. This is still in alignment with my apartment building, while demons are crossing path all around. This is systematic group stalking, and you have demons that cross path in that engineer light. That's not sunlight that's on that side of the Silverview townhomes. I'm standing at that property as a matter of documentation at the same approximate time, 10 to 10:30 in the morning. I am adjacent to that property, and this is 7 p.m., and this is the light source beside that property, aiming light into my apartment building, and then engaging in what is engineered light, because this isn't sunlight. It's just as impossible as what you saw earlier, which was on my ceiling, appearing and disappearing at multiple times today. While the entity is group stalking by helicopter, and doing so, these demons are as audacious and bold and acting with the same impunity that you saw Julia Alvarez Lopez acting with today. While the light source is hovering over you, the state is stalking by helicopter, and they are in your face engaging in what is demonic presence, demonic activity creation in concert with that entity. They are doing so while living at a crime scene. That is specifically Ledesma of 1816 #1, and she and her husband are going to federal prison, and the adult child that cannot even he can't speak or function on his own, they will be summarily relieved of taking any care of him, because group stalkers will not be in any position to be any position of home care and taking care of people. They're psychopaths who are obsessively stalking and terrorizing American citizens. They will have nothing to do with the medical care profession. You're talking about relieving them of the custody of minor children and removing them from those positions where they are a threat to the lives of American citizens. So that's a group stalker engaging in demonic conduct right now in plain view. That is as audacious, as life-threatening and terrorizing as what you saw Julia Alvarez Lopez engaging in while the light source was hovering over my head. And by the way, that was 6 hours ago, and I'm at the same apartment. This is evidence of what is never going to be the sun over the state of Nevada, let alone Florida, not in any other location, by the way, while it's still over me at the same property. And so let's revisit again. What I wanted you to look at was the evidence of what, I'm sorry, I think I already opened it. Here it is at 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning. This is my living room window, as you witnessed. This is the sunrise, and I am inside of the same apartment. This is the bedroom window where you're looking at the sunset at 7:10 p.m. Okay, this is at 7:30 in the morning. This was the sunrise today. All right, if you recall.
There's no exercising of any privacy rights, no First Amendment constitutional light that bends underneath to go into the depths of hallways. You see it touching on the shaded part of this building.
I'm in my bedroom window this morning while you're looking at the light source. That's a demon that's stalking while I'm scraping my long swiping on my screen. These demons engage in activity creation as I'm operating my phone. This is engineered light in my living room.
2022.
This is the light source
criminal system that is underway, and you have the people of the state that are engaging in state surveillance as a way of life in California. That's criminal conduct, and it is for purposes of prosecution, literally by your address, where there is no exercising of any privacy rights, no First Amendment constitutional rights are exercised, where the state is engaging in criminal surveillance in that specific environment, which is a matter of what is the federal prosecution. The substance of that federal prosecution is establishing the specific environment where the sun is never going to be documented from the beginning to the end of the day, which is what the entity is engaging in. And this is what I'm showing on May 4th. May 4th is followed
Okay, so I'm referencing the light source over me on May 4th, where I was at the Chino Branch Library at 9:42 in the morning. Again, as I captured today, May 5th, which again, if that's the natural environment, then you're going to have what is substantially similar conduct. You have what is a grand departure, while the so-called sun is outside of my living room window at 9:42 in the morning. I'm capturing it remaining over my head and the engineered light inside of my apartment. I'm capturing what is light that you saw above my door on the ceiling in the corner. And the entity is engaging what is, again, that's engineered light, and so is this. All right, and that was at 7:30 in the morning. It is again 7:11 in the evening. That is the pattern of conduct. That is again a scientific impossibility. That is revealing to you the reality of that which I have been documenting for a term of years. And this is, first of all, the condition of those who are surrounded in an environment where ongoing surveillance is underway. The significance of this surveillance, it is centered around what is engineered light, unnatural light, impossible light activity, directed light, as I have termed it. This is light that creates multiple shadows. This is light that you see appearing above your head, also beneath. You've seen it documenting. Even today, I documented it. It's underneath my bed, as I've documented it before, behind my headboard. You're looking at what is light activity, while I'm also reminding you about what I was doing on this day on May 5th, 2022, where I am capturing the light source over me in what is Upland, California. So on May 5th, 2022, I'm nowhere near what would be, and this is another angle of analysis showing what is an inevitable conclusion that we can all reach together. And then you're understanding when you are looking at the facts, because I'm not telling you to accept anything that has not been established as a matter of tangible evidence. The sun is not rising and setting at one address. We can all agree, and there is no scientific expert that would get on a stand and contend that. Okay, with a serious face. So the entity is engaging in what is the maintenance of a light source at 5:35 p.m. on May 5th. I'm at the Upland Public Library. Okay, this is where I'm at on May 5th.
This is the light source, and I'm standing at the same exact location. Well, not exactly, I'm in front of the exit. So this morning, as I'm standing in front of the entrance, the light source is right here. As I step outside, it is right here at 2:22. It is 5:35 p.m. and it's remaining in what is perfect alignment with me as I step outside of the Upland Public Library. While I'm inside, understand I would not be able to capture this over the roof, over the windows where I'm capturing it. The entity is moving this light source and keeping it, by the way. This is the point. This is why I'm documenting, because this is not possibly the conduct of the sun, of the natural environment, based upon what are scientific facts that surround our environment and the way that the sun supposedly operates. This is a group stalker. This is a demon with a grin on her face while she's monitoring. It's a psychopath. They engage in the same sexual violence, patrolling into
the entity is maintaining the light source over me at the Upland Public Library at 450 North Euclid Avenue, where I am present at 8:22 in the morning, and the entity is maintaining that light source within the pattern of conduct. It is for the duration of the day. At 7:07 p.m., it's 7:14 p.m. right now. When I go from Upland, California, I need you to listen. As I get on third-party group stalker, Omnitrans. In Upland, California, I get on Route 83, which runs north and south on Euclid Avenue. So that's going from the city of Upland, where the light source is remaining over me, as a matter of video documentation at 5:35 p.m. I go down the street to the intersection of Euclid Avenue and Holt Boulevard. This is what you're looking at right here. This is that intersection. This is engineered light that's covering an intersection in the middle of the street. The engineered light that you see appearing on my ceiling, sorry, hold on. You see appearing on my ceiling, the engineered light that you see covering my bedroom wall while I'm facing the light source. That's the engineered light that's in the middle of this intersection right here. The entity is engaging in what is systematic group stalking. This is amongst a people and a corrupt government that are engaging in state surveillance, and it is massive demonic activity. All right, and it is surrounded by the evidence of what is entirely unnatural, what is a scientific impossibility, what is a direct contradiction to what NASA has told us about the operation of the natural environment, about the operation literally of the moon and the stars. Okay, where the pattern of conduct is underway, the moon and the stars, all right, are centered around the targeted individual, and that is not the natural environment, nor is any of this, as I've shown you, the natural behavior of light, okay? And so on this day, on May 5th, 2022, where, by the way, I am nowhere in Los Angeles, California, and you cannot see the sun setting while I am inside of apartment 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, where, by the way, you already know that this is the criminal system of group stalking, because this is the same apartment where the sunrise is observed as a matter of video documentation. Nonetheless, we're going to continue to juxtapose this with what is already documented for purposes of prosecuting an entire state, okay? The entity is engaging in what is maintaining a light source as I go from Upland Public Library on this same day, same time, in 2022, and I go from what is Upland, California, getting on Route 83, and that is going south on Euclid Avenue to the city of Ontario. This is the same intersection, the Ontario Museum, where at the time I was sleeping outside, and this entity was obsessively stalking me in helicopter, the Ontario Police Department, at nightfall, following me where I sleep, even if I slept in a car, even if I slept outside, which is this entity's responsibility legally, because the entity is harassing me on the job. The entity is engaging in what is terrorism on the job, group stalking me on the job, as you are looking at that underway here at Alvarado Gardens. That's exactly what's going on. This is what I was faced with while I was practicing law, okay? The demon possessed in the legal field, this is what I'm telling you. They have no business, and they will be summarily removed, and they will have nothing to do with law enforcement. Not only because they're harassing people, but because they're demons who are unfit for the practice of law. And the product that you have, you will have corruption in the public defender's office. You will have corruption in the district attorney's office. You have them practicing law. By the way, it's just an issue of moral turpitude, by the way, and you should not be practicing law when you're engaging in what is a matter of criminal conspiracy with a corrupt government. No, you're not fit to practice law. And you will be removed from that position, as you will be prosecuted, documented for it. So I want to be clear. Nonetheless, the entity is engaging in this is the same intersection where I'm getting up in the morning at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is the same intersection. That's impossible also. I'm getting up at this intersection at the museum at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 7 p.m. Oh, excuse me, that sounds familiar to what's going on here, which is not occurring at the same time. The sunrise observed here at 7:30 in the morning today, and this is the sunset through my bedroom window, and it is 7:17 p.m. That's the pattern of conduct, by the way, and that is mutually exclusive to the natural environment, which is also not a natural environment, but nonetheless, you're talking about both of them are exclusive, mutually exclusive. Both of them are equally impossible to occur, even when you isolate the universe to that particular venue. That's the prosecution of an entire state. The entity is engaging in what is terrorism of a demonic nature, stalking with an environment. And in that environment, everyone in relevant position, in other words, group stalking you, and they're doing it directly. That is the LAPD. All right, that's the entity acting, and in every state actor, the entity is group stalking directly when you're looking at demons driving vehicles affiliated with the Los Angeles County. That's Center for Better Life and Access. That's a public entity. That's the county. That's the state acting directly. You have what is the entity acting vicariously when you're looking at demons, third-party group stalkers who are living on what they would like to contend as private property, but it's not. And because you're looking at what supersedes any First Amendment constitutional rights or exercise of privacy, no, you're not. You're engaged in the state's criminal system, which the entity is doing where the specific environment is remaining for that purpose. Let me be clear. All right, and it follows reasonably. You are engaging in what is the maintenance of an unnatural environment, literally a scientific phenomenon for what is a very high criminal purpose, which is supposed to escape notice by any and everyone. Okay? It is so malicious, it is hiding in plain sight. It is something that you would never question. But this is where the criminal system is underway. And when you are present in that environment, you're not exercising any constitutional right. You represent the state that's engaging in what is surveillance. The state is always stalking in that specific environment, which is also a matter of documentation. This is why you have the sunrise and sunset at the same address. It is the direct evidence against the people of the state who are the vicarious criminal actor, and none of them are exercising any First Amendment constitutional rights. Just like you see Julia Alvarez Lopez engaging in what is failing to maintain some stature substantially similar to the targeted individual. And no, she's not. She's a highly malicious, demon-possessed, third-party group stalker and a violent sex offender acting with high level of malice and impunity. Also within the pattern of stalking with engineered light. The engineered light that you're seeing appearing and disappearing inside of my private space. That's what the demon-possessed are doing while they're crossing path with you, and engineered light is moving all across surfaces. So let's revisit again, because you shall not forget what you have already witnessed, which is literally, again, the ongoing phenomenon, which is no ongoing anomaly. It's within a pattern of conduct. The entity is engaging in what is a pattern of stalking with engineered light. This is what's going on in the environment. The entity is stalking with engineered light. This is what you're seeing Ryder engage in on April 8th.
They're demons. Federal prison.
Pay attention.
This is the entity that knows
P.O.C. Crossing paths with engineered light.
He's engaging in ongoing documented terrorism with engineered light.
This is what you saw Center for Better Life
talked by
engaging
LAPD.
in. They did that
Ryder
too.
knows that they're being documented. They're coming onto the property. That's fine.
Pay attention to the driver's
Engineered light
side.
behind the vehicle.
That's engineered
Pay
light.
attention. He's monitoring as well.
Impossible
These are
light
demons.
activity.
Federal prison. This is the entity that knows it's being documented.
That is accomplishing monitoring. The engineered light is key to this criminal system, and it is demonic activity. and it is serving for massive monitoring. I am subject to criminal monitoring by the state that's in the air, by the state that's surrounding vicariously, all in traffic, all in the residences, in every business. And you already know that because I've documented what the entity is doing while I'm on the bus on March 22nd, 2022. Where's the light source? Because it's nowhere near Alvarado Gardens at 9:03 in the morning. The light source is remaining over me while I'm in Pomona, and then I get back on a mode of transportation, which is Omnitrans, a third-party group stalker. And you know that as a matter of conclusive evidence because the light source, the specific environment is being maintained around me. That light source is hovering over my head while I'm on the bus at 11:35 in the morning, which is not going to be over my head. It's not going to be over Alvarado Gardens. It's not going to be outside of my living room window of Alvarado Gardens either. The maintenance of that light source is remaining over that vehicle in real time, every street and every turn for the duration of that bus ride, of that bus route. The light source is remaining over me. That is speaking to demonstrate what is the maintenance of a specific environment for purposes of massive group stalking. It's referred to as I've referred to it, it's called relevant positioning. Maintain a position relevant to that targeted individual. The targeting conduct by the state is revealed through the environment, the entirely unnatural environment. Therein lies the ongoing criminal system that is hiding in plain sight. It is highly malicious and it is entirely demonic. It is also teaching you about the true behavior and the personality defects and the psychotic behavioral patterns of those who are hiding their condition, that they are demons, that they are, in other words, that they are demon possessed. That demon possession is serving to inspire and create what is an ongoing identical behavioral pattern. The ability to stalk, that is follow, occur with simultaneity, audible activity, any method of noise, any method of light activity, any method of what is present in the path with simultaneity to what the targeted individual is doing. You are identifying the targeted individual by the maintenance of that unnatural environment. Those are demons that are surrounding, and those are demons that are in positions of government, and the entity is always stalking in that unnatural environment. That is the hallmark as I have identified it. This is the most radical, the most spectacular, the most terrorizing method that a demon-possessed, corrupt government could fathom, and that is stalking through helicopters, following you in helicopters in that specific environment, and that is what will always coexist with the maintenance of that specific environment, which I have documented. So the entity is doing this. It's 7:23 p.m., and as a matter of evidence, again, you witnessed what was the sunrise at 7 in the morning while I'm inside of the same apartment. Never is that ever going to be the natural environment. It also doesn't coexist with being present over the Upland Public Library at any time of the day. You have what are 59 units here. 59 units that are engaged in the state's criminal system because the people of the state are acting in concert. This is a demonic agenda, and it is occurring in the natural amongst those that have a demon, a condition of what is demon possession, and it's supposed to be a secret. It's not a secret when you are aware of the significance of what they're doing in that specific environment. They are engaging in what are ongoing methods of light activity. You're creating light activity by merely being present, moving around in that engineered light. This is why you go to the extent of keeping what is an entirely unnatural environment, but it's hiding in plain sight because you're not ordinarily going to question that that's the sun over your head and that that's sunlight, normal sunlight. And you're also not going to pay attention because even with that, you could still look at that peculiar light activity, but you're just never paying attention to it. Oh, but once you notice it, it stands out like a sore thumb. And so do the demon possessed. They stand out like a sore thumb. All right. And then you're witnessing what is the veiled psychopath that is hostile to your exposing them, hostile to your insistence that you not be subject to stalking and invasion of privacy. Okay. That's the reality of what the entity does not want you to know about. This is, it's 7:24 p.m. and this is capturing what is the ongoing evidence. And this is juxtaposed with what the entity was doing at the Upland Public Library on this day in 2022, which is in conformity to a pattern of conduct documented in the state of California, operating a criminal system, which is a matter of public corruption. It is federal group stalking and monitoring. And again, we're going to put it succinctly, through that window, you saw the sunrise this morning at 7:30. And through this window at the same apartment, the same address, 12 hours later, you looked at what was the sunset. That is, again, the evidence directly demonstrated through what is independently establishing what is the unnatural environment. That is the environment. That is the legal framework. That is the prima facie case, if you will, of establishing the criminal system of state surveillance. The government that is stalking you, group stalking you specifically, because it's not just stalking, it's demonic activity. Group stalking is demonic. Gang stalking, it's demonic activity. And it is underway by the state. It's not just some random cult in a dark church. It's the government that is engaging in group stalking, and they do it in concert with the people of the state. The state is literally hiding behind the appearance of the people who want to maintain a sense of normalcy, a situation substantially similar to the target individual, and they're not. And you are aware of that through the maintenance of that environment. You're aware of that through the ongoing maintenance of presence in concert with that state that is always present. That is legally defined as stalking. And you are identified as a stalker in the unnatural environment. That's why that environment is there, because it is entirely unnatural. It's entirely impossible that it's naturally occurring. It's a scientific impossibility. It literally is. So this is meeting what is the demonic with what are facts and evidence, in no way impervious to prosecution in the federal tribunal. All right, so I'm going to end this video now because this is all important discussion. And so I don't mean it to be so long, but it's important analysis. So you need to understand that was 7 p.m. The entity is engaging what is ongoing group stalking by helicopter. It is unlawful. They have no constitutional, they're engaging in stalking as a matter, that's a legal conclusion. All right, when I'm showing you what they're engaging in, terrorism via directed light, that's underway where the entity is stalking you. And they're maintaining presence. That's the significance of that engineered light. It is present at all times, by the way, day and night. All right. And there is no point in the day when becomes the natural environment after you have established that it is the unnatural environment. There is no point in the day ever that you can appear with the light source and that it is anything other than the same exact specific environment. All right, and that's the purpose for engaging what is the documentation of that environment. All 59 units are filled with third parties, and this level of criminal facilitation of a corrupt government that is literally threatening your life, that is creating that ongoing emergency to your liberty, to your well-being, your physical safety, your mental well-being, intending in every regard with regard to the elements of monitoring and group stalking that they're engaging in together, and invasion of privacy and federal stalking on the venue of the internet. That sort of massive surveillance and those demonic methods of targeting you are also inflicting psychological harm at an immeasurable level. Okay, that is something that is intolerable that you assist the government in, and you go to federal prison for that. All of the minor children, those under the age of majority, shall be removed from the custody of the people of the state. All right, and it shall be quite a feat to retain custody of them again. You will be removed from the areas in society that you create a threat to the safety of American citizens. You will be published on a list to be maintained by the Department of Justice as a group stalker, which is an exceedingly violent sex offense. Those under the age of majority, they're not escaping prosecution where they are demonstrating their full well knowledge and criminal cooperation and of engaging in what is the crime of group stalking. They know exactly what they're doing. This has been demonstrated by Susana Martinez's teenage daughter and her cousin. They're demonstrating full ongoing knowledge in that same psychotic and malicious behavioral pattern. All right. And they're going to be prosecuted as group stalkers. And that's something that they will regret when they get older. But let me be clear. The life, the physical safety, the emotional well-being overrules any state or third party. That is what the government is protecting. All right. And this is what civil damages. Let me be clear, on the part of speaker companies and Todd Speaker, and the state of California and the people of the state seeks to make whole, which again, it is immeasurable. This is never before contemplated under federal law. Oh, but justice requires that we figure it out. Okay. It is currently 7:29 p.m. and this is P.O.C.